good to have everybody back again for the One Ring. When we last left our fellowship, they had separated slightly. We last left Traston, played by Skoon, up above in the light of day, well, the light of evening, actually, to face the spirit of Old Man Breaker's late wife. She's quite angry and quite upset at something that had been taken from her. The reason why Traston decided to stay above ground, unfortunately, is because he has a serious issue with spiders that are the size of Hamson. And there was evidence that such spiders lay below. And in fact, the rest of the Fellowship did indeed find such spiders. They were traveling down through what they assumed, rightly so, was likely an escape tunnel from the old manor. And as they went deeper and deeper into the dark, they found themselves in a large natural cavern, strewn with webbing and cocoons. And just as Hamson was whimsically wondering what it would be like to be hunted by spiders, said spiders dropped from the ceiling that literally no one decided to check as they entered this large cavern. And so they were set upon by these spiders, and they handled them quite well. I know in Angie's notes it just says fight, but I remember the fight quite well, and there was a lot of amazing injury rolls and then failures on the rolls by the spiders, to where I believe Hamson took out 2 spiders nearly single-handedly. There was a lot of work by everyone else, and then we finished that particular conflict with Iraniel, Angie, piercing a fleeing spider through its bum sack as it tried to escape.
We repeat,
and
bum sack.
Through its bum sack, yes. Just so everyone is clear, the spider was pierced through the bum sack. And sorry, everyone, that's turned into a joke. We all love it, and we're going to keep saying it as often as we can. It was expiring, and the last thing we left on was the spider whispering and kind of giddily that she is coming, and then it expired. And that's where we are. Most of the Fellowship is in this cavern, this dark, dank, web-strewn cavern, and Traston is still up top, waiting for his companion's return as full dark descends upon the ruins.
How long did it take us to go down the full corridor?
You got down to the point where you decided to keep going in about a half an hour, so probably 45 minutes to an hour, roughly.
Okay.
And it was already twilight when you descended into the escape tunnel, so now it's full dark.
And we've come out the other entrance, which is pitch black marshland then, yeah?
We haven't left yet, but that's your assumption, yes.
Okay.
Jake noticed the entrance/exit, assuming it leads to the marshes. It would make sense. I would say all of you at this point, particularly Jake, with his fine elven hearing, can hear the noises of the marsh beyond that exit. But yeah, you haven't yet left the cave.
Can we see, though, that it's the entrance?
You can, yeah. Once you got down here, you were able to see the fading light of what would have been sunset. At this point, now, after your conflict with the spiders, it would be, you know where the exit was, and some of you have torches, but you're not seeing light streaming in from it anymore.
I think we should head back to Tristan.
We should, but I'd like to remind us all that we do have this spare carcass, and we know that if we just leave it here, it's just going to rot and go bad, and that would be kind of a shame because there's many things you can do with a bear carcass, and You can make a rug. I'm sure somebody would find it useful. Maybe we use it to make a rug for the cavern, bear meat to feed people with. So if the Rangers of the North know anything more about this than I'm happy to help get this bear back up to where it could be used for the fullest. I mean, we didn't kill it. It's not our fault, but it would be a shame to let this resource just go to waste.
So Raniel and Narniel both have hunting, right, as rangers?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
You would know, looking at this carcass, that A, it's been exsanguinated by the spiders, and B, although it is relatively fresh, it's the meat is probably beyond harvesting. If you wanted to get the pelt, though, you could, if you wanted to spend some time in this cavern, assuming that those 6 spiders were the only ones that you had to worry about.
Yeah.
It is a fairly large pelt. And being that it was being fed upon by spiders, it's not like there's a lot of damage to it. A few punctures here and there, but not like it had been torn apart.
The pelt is maybe something worth taking, but maybe
we couldn't bear to leave it behind.
It's a little bit rotten. I don't think you're going to get a lot from it now. And you might get something from the pelt. It might keep you warm in the winter.
maybe we could take it back up with us, so we can do this by a fire.
Probably be easier to skin it here.
I say it's a bear, but is it quite big?
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
How long would it take us to skin it?
Well, it depends on your role. So, like, you both have hunting. One of you could assist the other. One of you make the roll with a bonus die.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look, we'll give it. We'll start to skin it slightly for you. But if it looks like it's going to be too tough a job, then we will have to leave it.
Well, I trust your better judgment. You are a Ranger of the North, after all.
I actually have 2 on hunting.
So at this point, Hamson is approaching one of the other cocoons that you haven't opened. It's slightly smaller. And I'm not going to try and be strain, but Hamson is talking about, I wonder what this cocoon might hold.
Would so do it. We all know that if Strain was here, he would so open that cocoon.
Yeah. So he's got his sword and he's walking towards one of the cocoons to open it. Do you want to go ahead and make a hunting roll? Do you want to do it?
I'm just trying to think how it would we normally do it. Would you actually skin the animals? Is there any?
I don't really know. Maybe. Okay. Yeah, because I'm more hunting, aren't I? Is it 1 bonus, did you say?
Well, I mean, if you focus on herbalism, there's a lot of materials you could also get from wildlife, right?
Yeah, I'm just thinking of Irenial's nice nature. It's just whether that's something you would do.
Yeah. That's totally up to you.
Well, I'm into nature, and nature is very death and life and birth and anything anyway. So I won't kill things without cause, but
you don't have a problem using what's there, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. I can assist you on that.
So I 1 bonus die, you say, yeah?
It depends. Is Irenial Narniel's fellowship focus?
No, who's your fellowship focus?
Yeah, Irenial's my focus, yeah.
So yeah, you get 2 dice.
And
I feel
also
a bit
think
of a
we're not
traitor now.
we're not in any rush now. I mean, we don't know if spiders are coming back, but there's nothing that is forcing us to rush. Whoa!
Oh, we just it's off. But even before you finish looking at the cocoon, it's like I'm like
I didn't even. Oh wow! Yeah, I mean, not only do you get it done in the course of the conversation, really, once you start working on it, it's perfectly done. You've got it so that it's totally clean. You've removed it in such a way that you don't even have to do any extra work to get any of the rotting meat off of it. You roll it up nice and tight. It's easy to carry. And yeah, you've got, with the exception of the paws and the head, you've got a pretty compact pelt here ready to go. Maybe it was because the skin had already started coming away from the rotting meat, or maybe you're just that good.
I am that good.
Yeah.
Very cool.
If anyone's looking, Hamson is now rooting through what appears to be a cocoon.
Of course.
And he's muttering to himself, throwing a few things. This is worthless. That's not interesting.
Hanson,
Yeah.
we are heading back to Tristan now. When we're leaving, you need to get. If you've taken anything, take it now.
But
What'd
there's
you
other
find there?
cocoons.
What'd you find there?
Oh, just, bric-a-brac. Nothing important. Nothing you'd be interested in.
Well, no, but
Fine, Master Elf.
the bric-a-brac in the cocoon must have gotten there with something. Were they?
Oh, well, there's a body.
Well,
And he steps away, and yeah, you can see just a desiccated corpse.
but is there anything that can help us identify it? Surely his next of kin has to be notified that his body was found.
You want to make a scan roll to take a look at it?
Sure, I'll happily do so.
Hamson will assist you,
All right.
so you gain a die.
Wow.
No,
Okay.
look at this.
Yeah, really well done. It is very apparent that this is someone from Bree. They kind like the cut of the clothing is much more cosmopolitan than a lot of the clothing that you see around Combi. So you're getting that this is probably someone who doesn't work in the fields. This may be a merchant or a craftsperson who's likely more quartered in Bree than here, than nearby.
Narniel, I think this is a resident of Bree. Are you thinking that we should probably bring the corpse back to find its next of kin so it can be given a proper burial?
Jake really wants to drag corpses out of here.
I don't
No.
think
I don't know. This
Is there any necklaces
No,
or
it's good.
identifying markers there? If
So,
there is,
in the
then
course
we'll
of
take them
that-
back and we'll identify them, and then we will assist them if they want to do a proper burial. But I don't think we should take the corpse right now.
Fair. In the course of that great success for that scan roll, you do find essentially what is a badge or a medal of some kind tucked into their tunic.
Okay.
And it's not a heraldry you're familiar with, but it is clearly some kind of representative. Like, you've seen badges like this before.
So he held office.
Or was a member of some type of guild.
Okay. All right. But do I have any indication based on the shape? Is it a physical laborers guild? Is it more academic?
So it's difficult to say, because you're guessing it's probably largely metaphorical.
Okay.
But basically what the badge is it is a depiction of a chest or a crate of some sort with a feather prominent in front of it. Not sure what that means,
The moving guild.
but maybe.
All right.
Okay. So yeah, we
was
can.
it a crest with a feather?
Obviously, they make light work of moving crates.
Oh, but yeah, they must do. We must find these. Must find their peers and see if we can find out who this is. Is that what you?
Master
Intent?
Cotton, you've been looking through other sacks or just that one?
Oh, I've only had time to go through this one. Should we check the others?
No.
We should,
No.
shouldn't we?
No. What we will do is we will head back to Tristan, and then we will inform the town that we have eradicated the spiders, and that should they want to claim their loved ones or anything, then they can do. It's not really our place to do that, but we've got rid of the spiders for now, and that's what we came to do. And we need to inform.
You're right. It's probably best to get back for supper anyway.
Yes. So and I'll say, right, we're going now, and I pop the beer pelt in a way that's carrying and
you know, just in honor of Strain. So 20 minutes have passed. We have spoken all about dinner and what's going to be for dinner and what can be for dinner, and
we'll fast forward through all of that.
So 20 minutes later, we're now continuing.
Now we're leaving.
He's still gonna
Awesome.
kill you when he gets back.
Had the
gonna
discussion
kill
of
us.
not using spider meat.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe he'd be interested in trying it, actually.
oh, we can, yeah. Well, while he's waffling, we are pushing him back. Pushing him back.
I wonder if the venom would give it a tang. I wonder if that would be good in a stew or a soup. The venom
It's
might
called a
act
venom
like
for
a
a
pepper.
reason. It would probably kill you. It's not worth trying.
Isn't Arestiel the person who does all the chemical stuff and harvests things from
Perennial, yeah.
poisons?
Yeah, did you want to harvest any of the spider venom?
Yes, maybe I did quickly in one of them. You know.
Okay. Yeah, I won't make you make a roll for that, unless you wanted to take the chance of getting an extraordinary success.
No, I'll just take a bit and pop it in one of my little capsules, pop it into my bag.
Sure.
And it's
So yeah, you've got some spider venom to work with. Yeah.
Yeah.
If it's crafting, I can help her, and then she get a bonus die. But I don't know.
It'd be more hunting for the harvesting. Crafting would come later and using it in something. Yeah.
I think I would be like tempted to be rushing us out of here now because it's dark, and I'm a bit concerned that Tristan's on his own, and I'm sort of like, and Hanson will end up eating the spiders or the bear, so I'm trying to get him out.
Oddly enough, Tristan really wasn't on his own. We don't know that, but he wasn't.
No, so we don't know that. We can all.
Yeah. Because by the time we get back, I'd say roughly, it'd be about 2 hours have passed, if not a little bit longer with the fight.
So you all start heading up. We'll jump over to Traston then. Traston is...
Traston, I keep calling him Tristan.
now alone. The lady's spirit, ghost, has fully dematerialized by full dark. Are you doing anything until they arrive, or... obviously you don't know they're on their way back up, but you assume they're probably returning at some point.
Yeah, I'm just staying at the fire.
Okay, so about another hour or so passes, and then in whatever order they're traveling, well, actually, you could probably hear Hamson's voice echoing up from the stairwell before you even see any of them.
Already.
Right. And so, yeah, he's talking about dinner and how interesting that cave was and whether or not they should go back. And I wonder what's in the marshes beyond the cave. And yeah, then the group kind of comes up out of the basement, cellar. And here we are.
Ah, that's a lovely fire that you have there, Traston. Yeah.
Thank you.
I'll go head over and sit by the fire.
Yeah.
And are your ears okay, Shaden? Because you can't tell me that you don't get ear pain on your ears with Hamson talking on and on. And I heard you guys half an hour ago just because he was talking.
Well, you know what?
Are you saying this? Hang on. Are you saying this in Patron, or are you saying it in Quenya or Sindarin?
I'm saying it in a language that Shaden and I do understand.
Well,
but probably not anyone else.
Yeah.
I understand you have traveled with Hampson much longer than I, and perhaps he's gotten on your nerves, but I have learned to be patient with all. Everybody has a place and a role to play.
I've met many a halfling, but none as annoying as this one.
Well, he does have a way to keep morale up in the party. The others don't seem to mind him as much as you. And if you learn to have a little bit more patience with him, you might be able to mitigate how much it annoys you in the end.
If we're trying to be stealthy, we can't because of him.
He can be pretty stealthy when he wants to. You've seen it.
No.
You do recall that when you went to that goblin lair, that once it was time to work and be stealthy, he was quiet. And he was quite stealthy.
It took a while, but yeah.
Right. So, do you recount to them your interaction with the lady, or?
I don't know if they are first saying that I was right, but.
Oh no! I have no intention of telling you anything about
the
spiders. Yeah, I am not. I'm not going to bring it up at all.
No,
Hampson does instantly.
Yeah, I was going to say we probably actually have a conversation.
Great big spiders down there, Traston. You missed a wonderful battle. Oh, it was amazing. I killed two myself.
I'm not gonna say
and
I told you
so. He goes into detail, like describing their size and what their eyes looked like and how they focused on him and the webbing that was everywhere. And he dug in a cocoon and...
Hanson. There's a fire there. Would you like to just concentrate on making us a quick meal while...
Oh, yes, by all means.
Thank you. It wouldn't take long or he was the fire.
Justin, can I give you a little bit of advice?
Yes.
He may be a bit of a chitter-chatterbox. And he may talk about food and may say things that are insensitive. But as an elf, your patience, I understand, is higher than those. We all have certain strange little foibles in life. But if we're going to do this together, you need to never pull a knife on him again. You can pull a knife on our enemies or people that are trying to harm us or things like that. That temper will get the better of you. You need to control it. But we are a group of friends right now, and we need to know...
It wasn't temper. It was fear.
I understand, but you need to not ever pull a knife on one of us again.
Never push me.
Then you need to temper your fear a little bit more.
I have tempered my fear, but not with spiders.
There may be people out there that if they know your weakness will use that weakness against you.
I don't think anyone would use spiders.
Oh no, she's talking about Hampson.
Oh
no!
Oh, don't worry, I can take Hampson.
All right, so, yeah, unless there's reason to hang around here.
Do we
would
see
you all like
ghost?
to?
The ghost wandered off?
No, it's completely dissipated. It disappeared by the time it was full dark. That could mean, if Traston is considering it, it could mean that it only appears during twilight, or it could mean that she expended whatever energy she had. It's difficult to say. But, yeah, unless Traston recounts the tale, there's no indication to anyone else that there was a ghost present. The sense of loss is still there, though.
I do ask the party, did you guys maybe found any evidence of who might have looted this grave?
No true evidence other than obviously what we all know was down there, we didn't really find much of anything else. We found a trail of knickknacks, but they were covered in webs, so we're unsure exactly if somebody used this route.
Was there a ring among those knickknacks?
I don't know. It was Hampson and Shadon that looked at the trail of knickknacks.
Yeah, if anyone were looking at any of the things, like there were a couple of rings. There were some earrings, some earring posts, or the little caps that would go on an earring. Some coins from various places. Nothing that stood out though. And Hampson, I think, would have remarked upon something that would be appropriate for a lady of the standing of Old Man Breaker's wife.
Yeah. I don't believe that the spiders had much to do with the grave robbing. That's not how they work. I think these the stuff we found there was more a treasure of opportunity as they were dragging the bodies, and most of it was discarded. That wasn't what they were focusing on. Obviously, they wanted the bodies. Let's face it, he was not well liked, Master Breaker, and when his wife died, any number of people may have gone to loot the grave for their own personal reasons, and it was likely many years ago.
Well, that's just it. Apparently he was liked. He changed after his wife died.
What do you mean?
This might sound weird, but I had a deep and interesting conversation with Breaker's wife.
You talk to dead people?
Apparently she appears at twilight.
Huh.
And she can't find rest. Well, she is unrestful because of the fact that she lost her ring, or someone took her ring, her wedding ring, and she wants it back. Otherwise she can't find peace.
I don't think we found any rings in there.
There were rings, but none that would, match the station of a wedding ring of a person of that importance.
I'm planning on asking Breaker where that ring might be, if he might know who took it, and at least what it looks like, so we can bring it back and she can finally get some peace and quiet.
You cannot tell that man that you spoke to his deceased wife. That might throw him over the edge. Especially if he knows that she returns every night.
Well, it's not because she wants to.
I mean...
It might force him all the more not to give us that information so that he can come and spend time with his wife every night. He may not want her to have the same rest that she desires. He may just want to spend the time with her.
Do you believe that of his character?
I know that he endeavors to do a lot of research on a lot of different topics. I mean, I was tasked with bringing him important research. I would not put it past a person such as that to want to continue on a relationship with his wife, no matter what the cost. Evidenced by the fact that he goes back every night with his wine and his little picnic, and he does talk to her in his own way.
Yeah, but he always leaves before twilight, so
Correct.
He never sees the spirit.
Imagine what would happen if we were to tell him that
we might be able to tell it in a way that we don't have to tell him that his wife's spirit appears. We've been into the grave. We've seen it was looted.
It's not
You
our
just
job
tell-
to make that that call. We tell him the facts. What he does with that information is up to him. Whether he finds the ring, whether he comes and speaks to her and tries to make her feel at peace without the ring, or he might have some other jewelry of hers that might also appease her, but it's not our. We can't make that judgment call. We have to give them the facts and let him deal with it. We can't play God here.
That
Or
is quite
whether
wise,
deity we
Urania.
might use.
I respect that. I feel a need to try to more control and keep people from harm and from things that might not lead to positive results, but you have reminded me that I am not a god to play with such things, and that people deserve to know the truth. I would not make a good Ranger of the North. I am thankful you are one.
So, let's have our elves make lore checks for me.
Ooh.
Oh,
Only
my
Jake
favorite
will-
kind of check. All right, let's.
You cannot assist each other. This is you individually thinking about the things that you've just been discussing. Okay, success for Shadon.
Oh.
Here for Traston. Possibly that makes sense, though, considering Shadon is an elf of Rivendell. So, as you're having this conversation, you're putting pieces together in your brain. Now, I'm telling you right now, I am an unreliable narrator, okay? I'm just giving you some thoughts based upon what you would know as an elf and experiences you've had in your, 3,000 years? Is that how old Shadon is?
Yeah, he's a young elf.
Right. So, as you're having this discussion about the lady's ring and the fact that there's apparently a spirit of this lady, and the spirit is upset because she lost her ring, things are seeming very strange to you, and you know that there are things of power in this world. And you know that on occasion, some of those things of power entrap people, sometimes even beyond death. For example, you know of the Nazgul, the ring wraiths, who were tied to the 9 rings that were given to men by Sauron. Not to say that you're not thinking that she was necessarily the same kind, because clearly Traston is fine. He was not accosted, although depending upon how well you told the story, Traston, you might recall that she was very upset on occasion, to the point of maybe aggressing against you, but she never did. So I just want to throw that out there. It's not to say that this is, as Iraniel is saying, it's not to say that this is your responsibility, but being an elf, you would have been thinking some of these things, and it is strange that there is a ring that has been stolen, and there is a spirit that's been summoned that's upset that the ring has been stolen. You've heard stories like this before.
In the spirit of this whole chapter being called The One Ring, and perhaps there are another ring and many rings that one can focus on.
You know, as an elf, there are many rings.
I do find it...
They're not all equivalent, but...
There's just one ring to rule them all.
I do find it curious that this entity, the spirit, is so tied to something earthly that she cannot get her proper rest without it. And I do think there's a bit of knowledge there that would be interesting to acquire. Would you have any idea how one might go about finding this stolen ring? Because whether or not we want to bring it back to the spirit or return it to Master Breaker, I do think it would be valuable to learn about it and know what hold it could have on a spirit, so much so that a person cannot rest without it. It may even be something
I will
dangerous.
remind you, I forget exactly who this conversation was with, so I'll be honest, I'm not quite sure which character had this conversation, but I believe one of you was informed that the lady she wasn't a noble, she wasn't of high status until Breaker found her and married her. So,
But she was very
being
well
more
respected and very well liked. And
she very well respected, very well liked, for sure. But if anyone had given her the regalia and the ring and other jewelry, it would have been Breaker, because Breaker is a scion of an old noble bloodline. And clearly he loved her. So it's unlikely that her family, being more common, would have been the source of this ring or any of her other accoutrements. It would have been Breaker. So might be a place to start. But I also understand where Ange is coming from, where it's like, do you tell Breaker that his dead wife is haunting the ruins? I don't know that that's the smart play.
It may not be the smart play, but it might be the right one.
Well,
It's your call.
I believe Angie's character said that we have to be full-on honest to Breaker, and what he does with it is up to him. My idea was just say that
Trask my mistake. Yeah,
being looted, and don't say that that wife appeared to me, because that would maybe cause problems for him,
but
for his mental state.
But again, the truth is really the only way to explain our interest in the ring. He may take offense otherwise. Like, why are we,
Also a good point.
He'll have to know that our intentions are noble and that we simply want to discover what it is about the ring that his deceased wife needs in order to rest. Otherwise, we're just asking about family heirlooms, it sounds like, that may have been passed down for generations. And he very well may indeed know where they are. Very well indeed might know.
Or what they are. Or have some idea. Yeah. So, not trying to rush anyone, but is there any other reason to hang out in the ruins, or shall we repair to our cottage?
Yeah.
In Combi. Okay.
Yeah.
So it takes you a while to get back, a couple of hours. It's late in the evening by the time you return to Combi. Do you go to your cottage, and do we want to take some time to think about this heavy information before approaching Breaker, or does Shadon want to get right to it?
I mean, we've already done a lot of thinking outside, and I've found that, when I've tried to keep information such as, we fought spiders, somebody else, Cotton, will go and say, we fought spiders. So,
right.
Whatever the plans are that I may, think are the right way to do things are clearly individual plans only. And so I think we can head out to Breaker in the morning and discuss this too. And certainly no reason to disturb his sleep at this late hour.
Sure. And the other way we can handle this too, if you want to do it that way, is this could be a good time to call for a fellowship phase to allow all of you to get some rest, to maybe restore some shadow or remove some shadow, to enable you to spend your experience. And, it's up to you how long you want to spend doing this. It could be a day, it could be a week, it could be longer if you wanted to go that far, but you've already paid Breaker for the property is yours. By taking a fellowship phase, in addition to spending your experience, which we can handle relatively quickly, You can also do an undertaking, which will allow you to do additional work. And that undertaking may be tied to what you are dealing with Breaker, for example, to give you some choices. And I mean, you can come up with anything else as well. But gathering rumors is a particular undertaking you might take. Healing scars is generally done during Yule, so you wouldn't do that here, and none of you have scars. But like if you had scars caused by shadow, you would be able to heal those. Meeting a patron. You don't have a patron yet, and patrons can give bonuses. It's possible, if you choose to do so, you might even turn Breaker into a patron. But that's your call. You certainly don't have to accept a patron at this point. A patron in the One Ring is basically a way to give the party as a whole a minor bonus, and to also kind of facilitate, like, having someone to give you a job, having someone to tell you where to go. But if you're all quite capable of making your own decisions, so you don't necessarily need one. So that's up to you. One of the undertakings is interesting. It says ponder storied and figured maps, which basically gives you a bonus to traveling when there's a journey. So you're basically looking ahead to try to get a sense of where are we going, what might we be running into. You can strengthen your fellowship by improving your fellowship rating, which is something that can be useful that we haven't quite run into yet, but it's basically a way to recover hope in the field. Not that you've all spent a whole lot of hope. There has been a few spends. Studying magical items. You do have that torque you could look into more. Writing a song is interesting, so we're not going to make anybody sing, Ange. But there is this interesting thing you can do with songs in the One Ring, where basically if you take the time, if somebody takes an undertaking to write a song, and I know Jake has done a couple of like songish type things, you can actually, kind of like a bard in Dungeons and Dragons, you can use a song to give you some benefits in play, right? So there are essentially a couple of different types of songs. There's a song of victory, a walking song, a song or a lay, as it's called, which is used for councils. And then when you use that song, which you can do once in an adventuring phase, you then get bonuses, right? So it says, you make a song roll, heroes succeeding on the roll ignore the effects of being weary for the length of a heroic venture is considered a secondary action. So it's a way to make your group stronger. So writing a song is an option, and those are just the options that are given. Off stream, we talked a little bit, Ange and I, about the possibility of doing some kind of like alchemy and herbalism. That's always a possibility. Crafting is something that if anybody was interested in, you could possibly look into. But then basically what it boils down to is you decide how long you want to spend in your fellowship phase as a group. And then we'll go through and we'll handle, basically what happens for that. So what do you think? A day, a week?
I would say
couple of days?
A week? I wouldn't say it's weird to just take a week.
No, it's not.
After all that happened.
Yeah, I mean, you're not really quite in the middle of anything. You have some questions, you have some leads, but nothing is really pressing on your time.
Yeah.
No.
I think it's one of them like, all we'd maybe do at this point is obviously, if we're going to sell Breaker, well, it's maybe having a discussion about where that might lead, but it's just, I think the main thing we need to do is go tell somebody that there's bodies down there that needs to come back to Bree. Maybe send send. Did we take the brooch? Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, we took the brooch.
I would assume someone did. Yeah.
So I think it's just take some time to
To be
decide.
clear, the body was essentially mummified, right? So like it's not like it's going to get any worse condition. And you guys have been through some travails. A couple of you are injured. Some of you have spent some hope and taken some shadow damage. So we definitely want to deal with that. So I don't think it would be inappropriate for you to take a week, but if you guys wanted to do shorter, really the time doesn't matter. To be clear, like your fellowship phase, the only reason why time would matter is because of the undertakings you're doing. So like if anybody wanted to craft something that would take longer than a day, then you would need more time. So it really is a matter of what you want your undertakings to be. Before we get to the undertakings, how about we handle the easy stuff, right? Yeah. So the first thing that's going to happen is all of you are going to recover a number of hope points equal to your heart rating.
Damn.
So whatever your heart is, that's how much hope you get back up to your maximum. Okay?
Max hope back.
I didn't use any hope.
Oh, so my heart rating is... Oh, I've still got 14 hope.
You haven't spent any?
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
It says
so you're
hope,
fine.
14 hope, yes. Yeah, so, okay.
Yeah. Let's see. So you also get to remove some shadow.
And this depends. I mean, I think the spiders, if the spiders were kind of servants of
servants of shadow, sure.
If it was, then then I think we at least remove 1 point from that. I'm not sure if any other actions we've taken have.
Right.
Unless
I agree, Jake. For those who are wondering, we're looking at a chart, right? So basically, if you can be considered to have at least marginally interfered with the shadow, with the return of shadow, you can remove 1 shadow point. And I agree, I think that's where you're all at. So you can remove 1 point of shadow. If your deeds are considered to have actively hindered or damaged the enemy, you would remove 2. I don't think we're quite there yet. And then if the player heroes have committed feats that would gain the attention of the Dark Lord himself, you would remove 3, but you're definitely not there. So everybody removes 1 shadow point. No, I don't think you've quite gained that much attention as of yet. So 1 point of shadow removed.
I still have.
Oh, I'm down to 0 then.
Okay,
nice.
Having 1 is not the end of the world, Scoon. It's as long as you don't gain more than the next fellowship phase, you could potentially remove that. But that also shows you, right? But that also shows you, just to give you an idea of, that's why it's important to adventure and stand against the shadow, is so that you can dispel the shadow in yourself, right? Which I really like. It's giving you that inspiration to be a hero. Now, as far as spending your points, everybody should have, if I recall correctly, 18 skill points and 18 adventuring points. Okay. You will be able to spend points on a couple of different things, right? So growth boils down to, skill points are developing your skill ratings. And you don't have to spend them all. You can save them if you want to develop even more higher point levels. Pardon me. And adventure points are used to buy ranks in wisdom or valor, which gives you access to additional rewards or virtues, right? So let's do the skills first. The skills are pretty simple. Every point in a skill costs, until a breaking point, costs about 4 skill points. So if you're moving to, let's say you're moving to rank 3 in a skill, that's going to cost you 12 skill points. If you're moving to rank 2 in a skill, that's going to cost you 8 skill points. You can improve whatever skills you want. You don't have to worry about training. We'll treat it kind of like a montage, like in your little off time, you've decided, oh, I want to get better at this, so I'm going to kind of work on it. Maybe I'll go out back and shoot my bow a little bit, right? Although
we have 36 points to spend.
No, because adventure. Well, okay, yes. So adventure points can
or adventure point costs.
Right. So adventure points can only be spent. Or I'm sorry. Let me rephrase. I don't want to make this too confusing. There's 2 things you can spend points on: valor and wisdom, or skills and combat proficiencies. Right. Skill and adventure points can be spent on skills or combat proficiencies. Valor or wisdom, which actually makes you powerful and gives you more abilities, you can only spend adventure points on that, not skill points. Does that make sense? I can help anybody who has questions about it too, because I know this isn't your thing, Ange, and that's fine.
But,
Yeah, I'm just leaving mine till Tuesday. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's fine too. That's fine too. We can work on it off stream. But if anybody wants to make any advances now, just keep in mind, we don't even have to do any advances now. We can handle all of that off stream. I just wanted to make sure that we got a fellowship phase in so that you technically could spend your advances. So yeah, in the end, basically what it's going to boil down to for your advances is, do you want to improve your skills and combat proficiencies? Then you can use all of those points you've collected. If you want to improve your valor or wisdom, which is then going to give you access to either new items or new abilities, you can only spend adventure points on that. I know it's a little convoluted, but once you get used to it, it makes sense.
And I think you can only choose to increase either the valor or wisdom each time. You can't choose to increase both. So in any case, you're only really going to increase one or the other each fellowship phase.
Okay. So.
Oh, but yeah, you can only, each fellowship phase, you can only buy, if you're going to buy wisdom or valor, you can only buy 1 rank in either wisdom or valor. You can't spend all your points and get like 2 ranks in each, right?
Yeah, because that would
good call.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would buff you amazingly.
Either wisdom or valor, not wisdom and valor.
Right, exactly. So basically what it's going to boil down to is you're either going to spend 2 adventure points on wisdom or valor, and then spend the rest of whatever you want to spend on skills and combat proficiencies, which have the same cost. Or you can just worry about skills and combat proficiencies. Right. But we can handle that off stream.
And it's not it's 8. Oh. To go to 2.
What's that?
To go to 2 valor or wisdom costs you 8. You said they're adventure points, not skill points.
No, it's 2. New valor or wisdom rank is 2.
Yeah, and that means
2 adventure points.
8 points.
Oh, I see.
Skill or adventure
costs at least
8.
4 points.
Valor or wisdom rank. Oh, I see. Valor or wisdom rank 2. Skill or... Okay, you're right. Everything is 4 or 8 or 12. I was reading that chart completely wrong. My bad. But again, we can handle that off stream. Let's focus on the undertakings. In addition to improving yourself, is there anything you want to do during this period off? Again, thinking about some of the options I gave, or thinking about something else, writing a song, doing research, gathering rumors, maybe doing some crafting, anything like that anybody is interested in. Also, you don't have to use an undertaking, to be clear. You could just use the fellowship phase as a reason to spend your points.
I was thinking of either of 2 things. I was thinking of the song, to write a song about the just kind of a traveling song. But I'm also keen to find out rumors. So if we can find out rumors about Master Breaker's wife's jewelry, where it came from. If maybe use this fellowship phase to try to gather information that may not be forthcoming from Master Breaker. Now my fear is if I do that in this area, I'll get a lot of rumors and conjecture from people that are close to it that may be less truthful. So that might require going out further than this town.
Okay.
I was planning on gathering rumors also, but
Okay, well, you can do, like, if Traston's going to gather rumors, Jake could certainly write a song.
Okay, that's what I'll do.
Is there anything Iraniel or Narniel are interested in? I'm going to talk with Strain about what he wants to do off stream.
I think for Narniel, I was thinking the collecting rumours, but maybe taking a day or two up to Bray to see if there's any rumours about what's happening in hometown, which Numinous.
Okay. So
Yeah, because we'd heard that thing, hadn't we, about the
somebody
the lake.
yeah.
Rangers missing in the lake area, which we was very shocked about, wasn't it? Because it was in the mists.
Yeah.
Because that was a no-go area, wasn't it?
Well, so you could, take in the week or so. I would say that traveling to Bree would not be a trouble, right? You don't really do journeys during a fellowship phase. You just kind of go where you need to go as long as it's roughly within range. If you guys take a week, I would let you go to Bree and do some asking around there if that's your choice.
Yeah.
What kind of rumors is Traston going to be looking for, though? So I know that Narniel wants to ask about Anuminus and what's happening up there. What's Traston doing?
I want to try to find rumors for the grave robbing, because I promised the ghost of Rooker's wife that I would find it.
Okay.
And I always keep my promises.
And what about Iraniel? Did you want to do some herbalism? Did you want to... You're muted, Ange.
I was saying lots of then, so you're all right. I think I'd like the herbal thing, yes.
Okay.
I definitely want to know maybe more about... I wanted to speak to Breaker, so I'd have probably done that with Shadon.
Okay, so I was thinking we could do that at the end of, you taking a rest. And
Yeah,
I
that's
won't
fine
make
then.
that like an undertaking. That'll just be some role playing. But if you
Okay,
wanted to do
so,
something
right.
while everybody else is going out and doing their things, you could do some herbalism stuff.
Yeah, but I think I would probably maybe go with my sister as well.
Okay, to Bree, right?
Yeah, because
Well,
it's
and
like
you
it's our hometown, so we'd probably be doing that together to find out any news of anything.
Sure,
to do with
sure.
that, yeah.
Okay, so I'll handle these very quickly one at a time. With regards to Jake, as far as writing a song, I'm not going to make you write an actual song unless you want to. But even if you do write an actual song, I will remind you that you're not allowed to sing it on stream, or Ange will leave, and we don't want that to happen. So
I read my songs like poetry, anyways. I don't sing them. No worries.
That's fair. So
Yeah,
you
I'm not
wanted to
sure
focus.
otherwise.
So you said you wanted to focus more on a journey song.
Yeah, I think
Was that your
I
like a traveling song?
I'm going to be cataloging the events that transpire to us and our activities through song and lyric. So it'll just be kind of, the history of what we've done since we've come together and some meaningful things that we've encountered along the way. It'll be a history of this travel.
Okay. So basically what you need to mark down for me is, and you can do this in the notes section of your character sheet, or you can do it in your own personal notes that you have to hand. Name the song, right? Whatever you want is fine, or you could just say traveling song number 1.
Okay.
But I do want you to indicate that it's a traveling song, because songs are one of 3 things. It's a combat song, a traveling song, or a lay. And a lay is for councils, for
Correct.
meeting people, right? So it's got to be one of those 3. And then you just want to have a list, because eventually, as you develop more songs, you get to use each of those songs once per adventuring phase. So it's basically a checklist. Once you use that song during an adventuring phase, you can't use it again until you take another fellowship phase. Does that make sense? So eventually you could develop a catalog of songs. If you had 5 songs, you could use all 5 during an adventuring phase, but then they're checked off until you get to your next fellowship phase. Right? So it's not something you can do continuously.
The title of this traveling song will be Breaker's Spiders.
Okay, all right. So you develop your song, and whenever you use it, you'll have to make a song roll.
All right.
To be able to use it effectively. Now, we'll go to Traston. So, looking for rumors concerning the grave robbing. You do, and are you focusing more around Combi, or are you going into Bree?
Well, like Shadon said, if we do it here, might be a little bit of a problem. Because Breaker might find out something.
Okay.
So yeah, I would say I would expect that when there are grave robbing somewhere nearby, they won't do it at only one place. They would travel to multiple graves to rob them. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go to Bree.
That's actually very smart. They won't spend the money here where they rob the jewelry. It'll be spent.
No, but they might go around multiple graves to rob them.
Now, I will remind you, while you're in Bree, you do have another important task to do, and that's report the body that was found and the symbol and everything. So that might actually also help.
Again, we can
gain more information.
We'll handle that outside. You're right, but we'll handle that outside of an undertaking, because you are limited in undertakings. One thing that's interesting is that during a regular fellowship phase, the whole group technically only gets 1 undertaking, but you can get free undertakings based on your callings, and based on your callings, you guys are going to be able to do all the undertakings you want to do, regards to the gathering rumors. So we'll go through the rumors. Just very quickly, Traston discovers in Bree that there is, in fact, some reports of some grave robbers that are working probably out of the Chetwood. And in fact, some people, and this doesn't make sense at all. Sorry, I've got a really annoying thing on my screen here. A couple of the people that you've talked to are indicating that these grave robbers are somehow working with the spiders of Chetwood. Like, they've been seen with the spiders, like, traveling together. It's very strange. So, that's the rumor that you get. As far... right? Now, as far as Narniel and Raniel with the rumors of Numinos. So, it takes a bit, because, your kind, the Rangers, they're not well accepted everywhere. Because people don't... It's not that people think you're evil, they just don't trust people who go out into the wilds. And like, people are afraid that sometimes that you fall into the enemy, right? Like, how can you live outside the walls of a safe town like Bree and not be affected by the evils out there in the world. Plus, you're strange and mysterious with your hoods and your hunting darkness and all that. It's very strange, and people don't react well to it. However, there are some people in Bree that don't have a problem talking to rangers, just like Breaker and Combi. And you do learn that, yes, as you already knew, in fact, from being in Combi, there have been some rangers about more than normal, and that there have been some rangers here in Bree, particularly asking for access to a few more learned people's libraries to try to gather information about some trouble that they're having up in Anuminus. And you find someone, pardon me, who managed to get a little bit more out of rangers. Maybe they were having a nice meal or something like that, and they convinced them to kind of spill the beans, as it were. And it seems like there was a group of rangers that set out from one of the main encampments on the shores of Anuminus, on the shores of Lake Evendim, rather, because they wanted to retake the islands of Lake Evendim, because there were some rumors of, well, all they could describe it to you were rumors of a trove or an armory in Lake Evendim. And in your mind, that probably means that a group of your brethren thought that maybe they could retake some of the old Numenorian holdings that were in the lake. Unfortunately, the exploration of the lake has been... People have been dissuaded regularly from doing that. And so the person who is currently in charge of the rangers up north, Gilrayan, the Lady Gilrayan, she, for some reason, changed her mind and allowed a group to go out into the lake to try and find these isles that are perpetually covered in mist. And these rangers who have been around Bree and around Combi have been looking for information because the rangers have not returned. And it's going on a month and a half, and there's been no word of their fate and what's been going on with them. So that's what you two find out.
Ooh, okay.
In Bree.
You're going to have to write that down for me because there's an animal on my notepad right now, but I can't write anything.
Yep, but I've got it. Don't worry about it.
It's like... It's on my notepad.
Oh, that's so cute.
We only see
yeah,
ears.
so it's a little strange and ominous, but yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but would it make us want to head home?
Maybe.
It's your call.
I think that's something that we'd maybe discuss. I mean, we are a fighting team now. We've seen their skills.
It has been a while since you've been back home and confided with or spoke to Gilran, who I would assume is also your chieftain, as it were.
Yeah.
For those not in the know, Gilran is also Aragorn's mother. So, those who are not familiar with the lore.
Yeah, I think it'd be up for discussion. Maybe you take a trip home.
Just quick, it's quite a long trip though, isn't it? That would be a massively long trip.
It'd be a week or two, probably, depending.
Yeah.
So Yeah, 9 days ish. Somebody did the measurement, and then it depends on your journey rolls.
I sort of say to Narniel, we left for you to see the world. We can't go running back at the first time that we hear something. There's plenty of rangers there that, if we head that way, or some of our adventures or jobs take us that way, we can swing by and we can keep our ear open to hear it. But if we go that direction again with our new group, we've met this group and we are exploring and we're meeting people and we're expanding our knowledge.
Okay.
I think we can bear it in mind as somewhere that we could maybe keep our ear to the ground and maybe help from a distance or send messages backwards and forwards. But if we go running back now, we would have achieved very little. We won't leave again, you know that.
Yeah. Okay. No, you bring up fair points. As you say, there are plenty more rangers around to help and to help understand. But I think if we do learn anything from Master Shadon or even Master Breaker in passing or anybody, we should send the information on. Whatever we can.
Yes. I mean, we may hear rumours in other towns that we pass through. I just think our adventures lie further on now. And we have this new group of friends and we could learn so much from them.
Yes. Okay. If we hear of more discouraging things, though...
Oh, yes. If things go very bad, then we will go home and we will help. But right now, let's just... we don't know where tomorrow's going to take us.
No. Okay. But I'm glad that we found out some more information.
I mean, maybe our presence could help the others. They're all out here for a reason. We should maybe ask them where they want to go, and we could help them. Maybe they have things to find, or people to find, scores to settle. We can help them and just greater our knowledge.
Yeah, we can do.
All right. With that, I think we should probably take a break, no? After about a week of fellowship phase, it puts us on the 17th of Thrimmage. We're still in spring. And in fact, it is a full moon tonight. Not that that's important, but I love my little calendar app. At any rate, we've all learned some things. We've learned that there is a rumor of some grave robbers that are working out of the Chetwood and have been seen in the company of spiders, which is very strange. We've learned that the Rangers out of Anuminus, under the leadership of the Lady Gilran, may have a bit of an issue, as they've sent a group into Lake Evendim to look for old, assumingly Numenorian holdings, and they have not returned, and they have been missing now for over a month. And we still have a potential meeting with Breaker after taking some time to do some research. We also have a song that Jake has prepared for us that we will enjoy on our next journey, should it become necessary. So yeah, what now? It's been about a week. You guys are back at your cottage. It's morning. Hamson is making a wonderful breakfast.
Oh, of course he is. We have in the last week all put on too much weight because we Hansen has been feeding and eating and cooking, and our little cottage is full of sweetmeats and cakes and pies, and it's like we can't move in the cottage for food and prepared food. So yeah, so we need to leave and do some exercise because he's killing us with his food.
Instead of killing us with kindness, it's killing us with.
He's a feeder.
Stew.
He's definitely a feeder.
It's his love language.
So yeah. So actually, we had a couple of days out, so we're not as bad. So everybody else is now like. So.
Well, I mean, the elves aren't going to put on weight, so.
Ugh.
I think I should be an elf somehow to change my genetics.
I mean, you can, kind of. Maybe.
You're not going to be as affected as if you were like someone from Bree. Like you are Dunedain, so. But yeah, you might notice a little bit of extra that you've packed on from Hamson's meals. Nothing to overstress you, but nothing that a good journey in some outdoors wouldn't cure very quickly.
Okay,
One of the benefits of having that elven ancestry.
Yeah, cool.
So,
Well, I think I would like to, with Shade on, to go and visit Breaker. Did we decide that anyone we're going to do that now, or
You can?
have
Is everyone doing this, or does anyone else want to do anything else?
Don't think there's nothing else we actually needed to do around here, was there? It was just. I think
No,
it's just we wanted to speak with Breaker about it, and then I would guess that depending on his response and answer would be whether we continue down that or venture to the different stuff that we found and may want to look at anything more.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, it's Breaker has certainly been I mean, you've probably, if you've been in Combi, you've probably seen him about town, and he's been very pleasant, to you every time he's seen any of you, whether you stopped for a lengthy chat or not. But there wasn't, on his end, he was not aware of any, impending meeting necessarily, although I do believe Shadon had asked for the possibility of using his library at some point, so he's been awaiting that, but it's not like, he's in any rush to force you to do so. So, having been in town for a few days, it's probably relatively easy for you to figure out his schedule for going out to the manor, so it would be little trouble for you to determine when to visit him. So who's going? Are we all going?
I don't have nothing else to do, so.
Yeah,
Fair
I
enough.
think we'd probably all just go. Because
Okay.
He is quite prominent in the town as well, so we could probably have a chat with him and show him the crest, about how many
Sure.
people have gone missing. We could also maybe speak to him about the rumours of these people that the grave robbers and
Okay.
stuff
So
like that.
Hamson actually decides to stay at the cottage. He says he's got some more like organization to do, and that he's had in the week that has passed. That there have been some other people that have been showing up around the property, and it looks like he's having an expansion added. So he's kind of overseeing that. There certainly has been a lot of deliveries to the cottage over the past week as well, which
Wow.
he's kind of shooed any of you away from and kind of taken care of himself. It's been a lot of fine furniture that has appeared in the cottage. Yeah, he's really kind of filling this place out.
Wow.
So yeah, the four of you go to visit Breaker. Hampson does say, by all means, tell me all about it when you return.
Nope.
I'll expect the whole story now.
Nope.
We'll bring back some cake.
Oh, would you, Shadon? Master Elf, you would be my most favorite elf if you did so. And he tells you, he reminds you exactly of where he found the cakes. Now, if you recall, they're in the pantry, just off the kitchen. There was a nice tray of cakes. I'm sure there's still some. You can certainly find some to bring to me. I would appreciate it. In fact, I insist upon it. So you all go visit Breaker.
It's like Strain is actually here now.
And
Strain.
So the front door is closed. I mean, he doesn't just leave his front door open, but if anyone were to ring the bell, because he has a pull chain, a pull rope, I guess, or knock on the door, Breaker shows up very quickly. And one thing that you've determined from the time that you've been in town is, aside from the groundsman that he occasionally employs to take care of his lawns and garden, Breaker doesn't appear to employ anyone in the house, so no maids or anything. In fact, you even assume he does all of his own cooking, because there's no indication of anyone in that capacity either. So yeah, he neatly attired in his kind of slightly upscale but not over the top clothing that he's generally in when you see him, and invites you all in, ushers you into his study. He takes a seat behind his desk, and offers seats to you. There's plenty of plush leather and other well upholstered chairs in the room. And yeah, what can I do for you?
We've come to have some discussions about last week's trip out to the ruins, shall we say?
Yes. You said you were going to look into the ruins. Did you find anything of interest?
Well, it depends what you define as interesting. Do you know much about who was there before your family?
Oh, you must mean the cellar. My understanding is that it was a watch tower of ancient Cardalin, possibly connected to some of the remaining Numenorian groups in the area. It was already relatively sunken by the time my ancestors came to own the area, and they decided to build the manor atop it, use it as a natural cellar, and then expand upon it. I'm certain you found the wine cellars that we didn't manage to completely empty. I'm sure if you took your friend Master Hobbit with you, he found some interesting bottles. He's more than welcome to, by the way. I've no interest of anything that still remains of those ruins. Anything of interest has long been removed.
Well, I can tell you, I already did.
Probably vinegar by now, anyways. I'm sure it's
Most of it, most likely. I'm sure someone of his taste was able to find some still good.
Believe me, he
strains.
already did.
Unsurprising.
We also saw the statue.
The old troll.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
now that is certainly interesting. Do you know the story behind that? By
Yeah,
chance?
how did
So
you get a...
lifelike. It was amazing.
It wasn't just lifelike, it was an actual troll that turned
Yeah,
into stone.
my understanding is there was a raid on the old watchtower at some point, and they managed to hold off the enemy until sunrise, and sunrise happened to catch one of the trolls. They then moved it into the watchtower as a trophy, perhaps.
Oh, they moved it, okay.
Yes.
I almost thought it happened there and just over the years, ground came over it.
No, that would have been more interesting, certainly. But no, it's if you looked closely, there's indications of that large thing being moved about. It's also on a plinth, so I doubt the troll would have stood so happily upon a plinth waiting to be turned to stone. But I was informed that it was real, and as you said, it certainly looks very lifelike, although I've certainly no way to check. I guess it could have been a very talented stonemason who crafted it, but I like the story.
Yes, it's a very, very interesting story.
I would have moved it here in town myself, but I feel that between the townsfolk maybe not being too happy at having a statue of a troll in the middle of my lawn, and also the trouble of moving it would be a bit great. Maybe one day I'll actually look into moving it out here, possibly making an expansion on the house and keeping it indoors rather than just leaving it outside to terrify the children.
Never really considered rebuilding the ruins?
Oh, no. I wouldn't want to be so far from town. It is quite a walk, as you'll remember, and I'm not young anymore. But also, it's I don't know. It's a special place. I wouldn't want to disturb that.
True. We did encounter some other things down there.
In the cellar.
Well, it was more the... Would it just call it an escape route, or would it be like a specific name for that?
Oh, the old secret tunnel?
Yeah.
I don't know that we ever really had a name for it, but yeah, it's went down to the marshes. I had assumed it had collapsed at some point.
No, it's actually quite
Interesting.
sturdy still. But there have been spiders nesting. I
assume you don't mean the small, innocuous kind.
No.
Yes.
Quite big and vicious.
Well,
Knew it.
suppose it's to be expected if that tunnel still lets out into the marsh.
I mean, we cleared them out. I mean, it may be advisable for us to send a party in and close the entrance.
And maybe to collect the remains.
Oh, there are remains.
Yeah,
Yes.
unfortunately.
Unfortunately, we were able to only look into a couple of cocoons before the light was just too dark. But one of them was somebody from Bree, we believe.
Oh, did we not? We have something. You may. Who has it? The crest.
I think Shadon
my-
does.
Shadon.
Yeah, I'll present it. It's quite odd. It's this chest with a feather. You could make it out very clearly. It's.
So he takes it and he puts on a pair of spectacles. Looks closely. He says, "Oh, this a reliquary, not a chest." Interesting. I've not seen this sigil in a long time. If you leave it with me, I'll look into it deeper. It seems familiar, but I'm not sure off the top of my head.
Well, if it's old, then maybe the family of the person who we found is perhaps it's just too distant a relative or a memory to even have realized that there was a loss.
How is it arrayed on the person? Were they wearing it openly? Or was it in a pocket?
It was in a pocket.
He
may have just been something
himself.
found then. Cocooned by the spiders.
Yes.
I'm trying to recall by using my knowledge. Narnio, how long did we recall how long that body had been there? Could we have ascertained that? To do a roll quick.
Yeah. With it being desiccated and your knowledge of hunting and Iraniel's knowledge of herbalism and that kind of science, stuff difficult to pinpoint exactly, but you would guess that body had probably been there for at least a month, if not longer.
Okay.
Did we work out how long, like how fresh the holes were? Sorry. That they did.
The holes were also probably about a month old.
Okay. It's, so it seems these spiders are being somewhat active. They've also dug out through the ruins. But there was only... We encountered only 5? 6?
6, yeah.
6. We took care of them, obviously.
Oh, good.
But
Well, they are Rangers of the North.
Indeed, Master Elf.
But we do have some slight concern. Within your knowledge, do you have any notion or stories about about a woman connected with spiders, or some female?
Well, the original was always known as more female. It's referred to as she regularly, and Goliant. Some of the other named spiders are often more of a female form. There's Shelob, there's I can't recall all of them, but yeah, most of the matriarchs of their kind would be she.
Okay.
I think our advice would be to go into the tunnels, pull out the deceased if you want to give them appropriate burials, and collapse that tunnel.
Yeah.
Well, I will look into it. Being that you think it's a person from Bree, or at least one of the victims, I will send word to the wardens in Bree. Hopefully they'll send a team. There's no one in Combi, though, that would be skilled enough or brave enough to do that.
Is there anyone missing from your town recently?
Not recently. I mean, we always lose people. It's kind of a tax, if you will, for living outside of the safe walls of Bree. Last person I remember taken probably 2 months ago. Sadly, a young man. The assumption is he was probably ranging out into the Chetwood or the marshes alone.
Maybe you might be able to find his body there. We don't know. I mean, we didn't like to disturb them until maybe somebody of authority went down there, but did we know approximately how many cocoons were down there? Did we see how many?
I mean, in the span that you spent down there, you probably saw 6 or 7 cocoons
Wow.
that looked like they still had occupants, as it were.
Okay.
But it was a large cavern, and you didn't explore it all.
Okay.
Explore at all.
There was a couple of things. Was it Tristan that found out about the grave robbers?
Well, we all
Yeah.
saw that grave was robbed. I'm the one that wants to know who did it, and that I
The
found
grave.
out that they work with spiders, apparently.
So he suddenly becomes very serious. He says, "The grave, you mean my wife's cairn?"
It's
Yes.
been disturbed.
Why would someone do that?
Well,
grave
why does
robbers.
anyone steal stuff for money?
Nothing to steal, save for a few trinkets I gave her.
You wouldn't have
Yes.
given her something more significant. I imagine the wedding ring must have been a family heirloom.
Oh well, we had nothing so fancy as a wedding ring. I did give her a ring, and it was, as you say, an heirloom. It's been in my family for generations.
Well,
I
you didn't
buried
bury
it with her.
You did bury it with her.
Well, yes, I'd given it to her. Why take it back upon her death?
Oh, that is one of the things that would be missing.
Was there no indication of who might have disturbed her so?
Unfortunately, not.
No. But would you maybe know someone that might want that ring?
And you see him, like, kind of moving his fingers on his hand almost as if he had a ring there, but if you look closely, he doesn't. He's not currently wearing a ring, but there is a kind of an indication that there was probably a ring that had been there for a very long time. You know how when you wear a ring, it kind of changes the structure of your finger, and it looks like he's kind of twisting it and turning it, but there's nothing there. And he says, "I can't imagine why anyone would want. All it was a symbol of my house."
And what is the symbol of his house? Do we know? Or if not, I'll just ask him.
Or is it somewhere in the room, clear?
No, it was just a ring, not a specific symbol. It's just, he when you ask him, he says it was a rather plain ring. It was gold with some filigree on it. Had a small black stone set in the top of the band.
And that
It's just always, it's been passed down from person to person. I gave it to her as a symbol of my commitment.
If I use lore, would I be able to kind of try to recall any information about rings that have like little black stones or any
Right.
significant rings? Oh no, not even.
What a great success.
Oh.
Yeah,
oh,
see a great
total
success.
Kind of odd. Okay, I got like, wow. All right,
Wow,
I guess
yes.
yes, it doesn't matter.
You're
Isn't that
unaware
Gandalf?
about the ring.
So
That's Gandalf's staff, isn't it? That died.
Yeah,
It
that's
is,
a-
yeah.
Get
Gandalf's
me
ring,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, yoo-hoo, get
oh,
me.
that's a good thing. So I
Woo.
could spend a point of hope now to turn that into a magical.
No, that would be done beforehand, but it essentially already is really, really good, right? Because it's a Gandalf rune, so it's a automatic success. So you know that many rings were made by many people. Of course, you know the well, I shouldn't say of course. You know the rhyme that some of us might be familiar with of, 7 rings for dwarves, 9 rings for men, 3 rings for elves, and so on. You know that because of your own studies, and you were around for some of it, right?
Okay.
Like, so,
We all
You-
know Celebrimbor.
well, not all of you. I mean, it's not common knowledge. Although the 4 of you, maybe not Hamson, but the 4 of you are more likely to have some knowledge of the rings and their importance than most people do. But that being said,
Wouldn't Shadon and I know about Celebrimbor as being elves?
I mean, you might know of him.
I
But-
would say Shadon may know better because he's an elf from Rivendell.
Right.
And he's
Exactly.
Celebrimbor was also from Rivendell.
Right. So you would know of the rings and the betrayal and all of that. But as far as additional rings, many craftsmen in many ages. I mean, there were some rings that were made by some of the Numenor. In fact, one of the rings, a ring, I guess I should say, was crafted by the Numenor as a symbol of their house. A ring that few of you would know, except for maybe our ranger sisters, but a ring that's currently carried by a young man who is just reaching what would be considered adulthood by some of those in Bree. I want to say he's probably 19 or 20 at this point. The son of Lady Gilrain, and he bears a ring.
But they will need to discover his true name on their own.
I mean, they might know him. They grew up. They came up with the people of Anuminas and Lady Gilrain. So they might not be friends with him. He's younger than they are, right? But they are certainly aware of Aragorn. Now, they might not know of his lineage, because not everyone does. Lady Gilrain doesn't spread that around, but it's because, unfortunately, that lineage still carries some fear with it because of Isildur's betrayal. At any rate, rings are not uncommon, and not all rings have power. But with a great success, I would say that from your observations, from the description of the ring, your guess would be that this ring was not crafted by Breaker's people. Because Breaker is not a Numenorian. He's not Dunedain. He is a common man. It's likely that his ring, his family's ring, was probably given to him by someone to represent their station. Now, whether or not it had any abilities, or you're still guessing at that point. But he did say that the ring had been in his family for generations. From the scant description he gave you, because it's not like he has a picture or anything, but from the scant description he gave you, you would guess that the ring was given probably to what would be like a seneschal a keeper of land. The land was probably bequeathed to him by the old lords, or his family, I should say, by the old lords of Cardalin as a reward of some kind. And so as you're thinking about this, he himself is kind of going through like how his family came to be here. There were and always have been wars with Shadow. His family stood while other families fled. They were given this land, and the ring was a symbol of the land. And in fact, he was told as he grew up that the ring was the heart of the land, and that should the ring be removed from the land, that Shadow would grow and fester.
And since the fall of his reputation, that's exactly what happened.
Well, and also, if you recall, the lady mentioned it's been, what, Traston, a month or two since the ring has been taken? And Old Man Breaker also indicated that the vines didn't start growing until a month or two ago.
Ah.
And the vines are associated with the shadows.
And this was for a month ago.
And the spiders were a month ago, yeah.
Oh.
Breaker. We have some information to give you, and I'm not sure how you will take it, and I'm not sure, but I feel that we have to tell you. It's our duty. It's distressing enough to know that your wife's resting place has been destroyed or damaged and things are missing. But I don't know whether the connection is that it may have disturbed your wife's spirit.
You've been listening to people in town. They speak of a wailing spirit that wanders the ruins.
Yes,
do.
and they may be speaking some truth.
Perennial.
Our friend here, Traston,
Don't.
spoke to her.
He turns and looks at you, Traston. You spoke to her?
I told her not to tell you. We don't know how he would react. I wanted to spare you.
But she's passed. She can't possibly. I mean, I know spirits sometimes linger. Why? Why would she linger?
Because of the ring.
She's not even... I don't understand. He's very distraught.
I go over and comfort him with a pat or
Pat on the back.
It's honestly good that you know, because if you've noticed that dark things have been happening in the land, we can correlate the return of the vines and the spiders with this event of the ring being taken from the land.
But that makes no sense. I understand, Master Elf. I'm a man of logic, as you are, and I understand the correlations, but correlation does not lead to causation. You must know this. And the ring has left the land before. I've traveled while wearing that ring.
Well, it is what she told me. That can't can't pass on if the ring isn't back in her grave.
And you may have left the land with the ring, but you were given the land, and therefore you are part of the land. So as long as the ring remained with you, negative consequences may not have correlated
Maybe the
into
wrong
causation.
Maybe the wrong person has got it. Tristan, did she say that she'd always been wandering the lost, or it was a recent thing? Did she have any concept of time? I'm just wondering that we've gathered
Spirits
that
don't really-
everything. I'm just wondering whether she has appeared.
She did
since
actually,
the
if you
ring.
recall. I'll remind you, because Traston had a deep conversation with her, but she did indicate that she only started awakening at twilight about a month and a half ago or so.
Oh crikey, Governor!
It started about a month and a half ago. So when the grave robbing started.
So it seems that we need to get this ring back. Otherwise she is going to be a tortured soul for until it's returned.
How can we possibly, like, if it was stolen? I don't understand. I will.
We have heard some things that could possibly be looked into. Like, we found a trail of other knickknacks that may indicate that other graves have been tampered with. So there may be somewhere to start, but we just...
Yeah, and apparently they are working together with spiders.
Yeah.
Well, if there's a large enough colony of spiders nearby, they do grow in intelligence. The more of them there are. Why they would want such trinkets, I don't understand, but most of the colonies that I'm aware of live in the Chetwood. Some have expanded into the marsh. I've not heard of anyone allying with the spiders, though. That would be...
Oh, why would you?
Well, but
Yes.
we do know that there are stories of grave robbers that operate out of the Chetwoods.
Where did you hear this?
Bree.
Well, they may have more information than I.
Well, Bree is very cosmopolitan.
They certainly serve a good one, that's for sure. No, I'm kidding. Well, I mean, I can't ask this of you, but this is not something I can do anything about. I don't have much to offer. But if you could find it in yourself to look into this, I would appreciate it.
I kind of promised your wife's spirit I would bring back the ring, but that was before I knew they worked with spiders.
I think if there's any information, even if within your books, about spiders, or if there's anything within your history about this ring that might help. I mean, I know Master Shaydan wanted to look within your library for reasons.
I can understand wanting more information before you set out. I will gladly do what research I can. I would more than welcome Master Shadon's assistance in going through the library. In fact, you all are welcome to go through it. One should not leave on such a task without being fully informed as much as they can be. I can provision you as well, if necessary. I have means, but the majority of my wealth now is in the land itself. I can't offer coin.
You know, it's
not always about coin.
no.
Yeah, and it is good to have you sponsor our quest in the name of finding this ring. Of course, there is advantage.
You see him relax a little bit. Clearly, he's happy to hear you all say that. And if this is something that you want to pursue, then yes, I think as much as you might want to jump into it at this point, we might have to fade out with the beginnings of research and pick up the beginning of next session with our findings and then action, if that's all right with everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel this is going to be a very difficult task.
Yeah, well, we're only going to be traveling in areas of the Chetwood that are devoid of spiders. We're only going to be traveling in those parts that have the grave robbers. I can practically guarantee it that Brian will not subject you at all.
They are working with the spiders, so the spiders are with them.
That's the rumor that you heard. Rumors aren't always true. There was a rumor about a troll feeding on livestock at one point, and you all found out it wasn't a troll.
But that's just a troll. I mean, these are spiders.
Yes, but Tristan,
be active.
think of it more
That's
as
just a troll. These are spiders.
Shadow. We are not fighting spiders. We are keeping the shadow at length. I still feel the shadow within me in this area.
For some reason, I'm waiting for Traston to be like, "Damn it, Jim! I'm a messenger, not a spider slayer."
Yeah, I don't know that reference. Traston,
Oh, you don't get the old
I
Star
do.
Trek reference? Oh, okay.
Traston, what is the story of why you fear the spider so much? Feared they are to be, but this fear is more debilitating than others.
Yeah, I had a very bad encounter back home when I was but a wee elf.
Go on.
Oh, is that not enough?
Unburden yourself.
So, if you want to, if you want to tell the story, you certainly can.
I was training for my first hunt. And we traveled through the trees, as you might know, as us wood elves do. I slipped off of a tree branch and fell right in a spider's web. And a big group of spiders just wanted to eat me. And that kind of stick. And I'm not saying this as a joke because of the spider web.
It took me a second.
I understand.
That was good.
I don't.
Ah. I understand the trauma that you faced. How long were you stuck alone with the spiders before you were rescued?
Half a day.
Oh my.
Mm.
How were you rescued?
Well, luckily, Legolas and a few of his followers helped me. They get me out.
Well, I fear now we're not just talking about doing this for a few bottles of fine aged wine for Hampson's collection. There is an important ring to be found. And right now, all indications are that it is in the Chetwood.
Yes. And don't get me wrong, I would feel a lot better in the woods than I would anywhere else. But I still have a problem with spiders.
But
All right.
as
So,
you would also know that the Chetwood contains trees from which you could make a magnificent bow like none other. Perhaps
know.
think on that as we head in.
I will try, but I can't promise anything.
all right. So,
Promises are for politicians. We are men of action.
What?
there aren't many politicians in Middle Earth, but yeah.
I don't believe there are politicians in Middle Earth, so I'm like, what?
I
We
mean,
are
there
elves
are
of
some
action.
offices that people hold. So yeah, research, and we'll put some things together. I think throughout the next week, I'll probably send all of you some messages on what you find individually, and then we'll start kind of bringing that together, along with whatever Breaker finds. And then we will reunite with Strain. I believe we're playing next Friday, is that right still?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll reunite with Strain and have our research, and we will go from there.
Very good. Thank you so much.
Yay.